Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiriye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, Questions by King Parikshit, text number 15. Bhupatala kakuvyoma griha nakshatra bhuvritam sarit samudra dvipanam sambhavaschaita dokasam. O best of the Brahmins, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as the different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and not all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky. And similarly, the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. By the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant, but the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. Even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. They are so made according to different qualities of the modes of nature. Such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. There is a great plan behind the arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests the great sage Shukdev Goswami to explain all this authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding. So these are all different questions by Maharaj Parikshit that Shukdev Goswami will answer, and I'm just checking some other setting. Okay. Shukdev Goswami will answer in different cantos now, not just even in one chapter. And these are, look at all the questions, and Shukdev Goswami will remember all the questions and he will answer all of them. 2816. Pramanamanda koshasya bhayabhyantra bhedata mahatam chanucharitam varnashram vinishchaya. Also, please describe the inner and outer space of the universe by specific divisions, as well as the character and activities of the great souls, and also the characteristics of the different classifications of the castes and orders of social life. So he wants to know all about the universe, different inhabitants of the different planets of the universe, characteristics of different castes, the Varnashram Dharma system. Look at his questions. He wants to know everything about the universe. Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. He wants to know the inner and outer space of the universal form. It's quite fitting for the real searcher of knowledge to know all about this. Those who are of the opinion that the devotees of the Lord are satisfied with mere sentiments can find in the inquiries of Maharaj Parikshit good lessons as to how inquisitive a pure devotee is to know things in their true perfection. The modern scientist is unable to know about the inner space of the universal horizon, and what to speak of the space which covers the universe. Maharaj Parikshit is not satisfied with only material knowledge. He is inquisitive about the character and activities of the great souls, the devotees of the Lord. The glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees combined together comprise the complete knowledge of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is basically glories of the Lord and the glories of his devotees. Lord Krishna showed his mother the complete universal creation within his mouth, while she, completely charmed by her son, wanted to look inside the mouth of the Lord just to see how much earth the child had eaten. By the grace of the Lord, the devotees are able to see everything in the universe within the mouth of the Lord. The very idea of the scientific divisions of four classes of human society and four orders of life is also inquired about herewith on the basis of individual personal quality. The four divisions are exactly like the four divisions of one's personal body. The parts and parcels of the body are non-different from the body, but by themselves they are only parts. That is the significance of the whole scientific system of four castes and four social orders. The value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportionate development of devotion service to the Lord. Any person employed in government service, including the president, is a part and parcel of the entire government. Everyone is a government servant, but no one is the government itself. That is the position of all living entities in the government of the Supreme Lord. No one can artificially claim the supreme position of the Lord, but everyone is meant to serve the purpose of the Supreme Lord. So here Prabhupada is, first he talked about that a devotee of the Lord is not just mere sentimentalist. He is inquisitive and he knows so much about the universe, about so many other different topics. And looking at Maharaj Parikshit, he is inquisitive about knowing everything about the inner and outer space of the universe. And also he wants to know about the Varnashram Dharma, about the characteristics of different classes of human society. And this is what Prabhupada is saying, that value of such scientific divisions of human society can be ascertained only in terms of the proportional development of the devotion service to the Lord. Means the only thing of essence in this Varnashram system is how we make progress in bhakti. Text 17. Yugani yugamanam cha dharmo yascha yuge yuge avtaranu charitam yadascharya atmam hare. Please explain all the different ages in the duration of the creation and also the duration of such ages. Also tell me about the different activities of the different incarnations of the Lord in different ages. So basically this is the whole Bhagavatam is asking. Please explain all the different ages, means Satyuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga, how the duration of such age, and tell me all about the different activities of different incarnations of the Lords. Lord Krishna is the original personality of Godhead, and all the incarnations of the Supreme Lord, although non-different from him, are emanations from the Supreme. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the great and learned sage Shukdev Goswami about the different activities of such incarnations, so that the incarnation of the Lord might be confirmed by his activities in the authoritative scriptures. Maharaj Parikshit was not to be carried away by the sentiments of the common man to accept an incarnation of the Lord very cheaply. Instead, he wished to accept the incarnation of the Lord by symptoms mentioned in the Vedic literatures and confirmed by an acharya like Shukdev Goswami. So means all the incarnations of the Lord have to be mentioned in the scriptures. And he wants to know it from the lips of bona fide teacher like Shukdev Goswami. The Lord descends by his internal energy without any obligation to the laws of material nature, and thus his activities are also uncommon. The specific activities of the Lord are mentioned, and one should know that the activities of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical due to being on an absolute plane. Thus, to hear the activities of the Lord means to associate with the Lord directly, and association with the Lord directly means purification from material contamination. We have already discussed this point in the previous volume. So, this we discussed, and that associating with the Lord or hearing about the Lord is also means associating with the Lord. And when we are associating with the Lord, means we are getting purified. Nirnam sadharano dharma saviseshascha yadrisha shreninam rajarshinam cha dharma krichreshu jivatam. Please also explain what may generally be the common religious affiliations of human society, as well as the specific occupational duties in religion. The classification of the social orders, as well as the administrative royal orders, and the religious principles for one who may be in distress. The common religion of all classes of human beings, regardless of whosoever and whatsoever one may be, is devotion service. Even the animals may be included in devotion service to the Lord, and the best example is set by Sri Bajrangji or Hanuman, the great devotee of Lord Sri Ram. As we have already discussed, even the aborigines and cannibals can also be engaged in the devotion service of the Lord if they happen to be under the guidance of a genuine devotee of the Lord. In the Skanda Puran, there is a narration that a hunter in the jungle became the most enlightened devotee of the Lord by the guidance of Sri Narad Muni. Therefore, devotion service of the Lord can be equally shared by every living being. So here Prabhupada is giving example that even non-humans, like Hanumanji, he can also be a devotee. Devotional service is not limited to only people in the Varnashram system. Varnashram system is good for the proper functioning of the society, but the ultimate aim even of Varnashram system is to become devotee. And devotional service can be performed by anybody. Prabhupada gave example of Hanumanji, but Garudji is a devotee of the Lord. Jatayu, Sampati, how did they service? How much service they did for the Lord? And in every incarnation, every kind of person can be a devotee of the Lord. Shabri in Ram Leela, she was an aborigine, but great devotee. Even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a story of dog who first there was one puppy that Nimai loved, and Nimai played around with that puppy. And when Shachimata saw that, Shachimata wanted to stop Nimai, but she couldn't. So she told Nimai, "Okay, you go and take bath in the Ganges with your friends, and come and you have lunch. And till then, I take care of the puppy." And when Nimai went for bathing, she just let the puppy go because the thing was, she said, "We are Brahmins, we cannot have puppies in the house." So this puppy, he went to the market of Navdvip, and in the marketplace, he just raised his front hand, and he was standing on the rear legs, and he was chanting and doing kirtan. Just because Nimai just played with him, just put him on his shoulders, and the puppy, he became such a devotee. And while doing kirtan, he fell down, and people saw a plane from Vaikuntha came, and the puppy went in the same body, very self same body, he went to Vaikuntha. So devotion service is not limited by our body, what kind of body we have. Religious affiliations in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances is obviously not the common religion of the human being. Rather, the basic principle is devotional service. Even if a particular type of religious principle does not recognize the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. Such a leader of a religious sect is never the supreme leader because such a circumstantial leader comes to the position of leadership after undergoing some penance. The Supreme Personality of Godhead does not, however, require to be under the disciplinary action to become leader, as we see in the activities of Lord Shri Krishna. So, religious affiliation, so Prabhupada, in terms of different countries and cultural circumstances, is not the common religion. We can have affiliation with different religions. Somebody could be from Islam or Christianity or Hinduism or Varnashram system or Vaishnava or Shaivite or whatever. Basic principle is devotion service. And in one of the quotations that I read was Prabhupada saying, the basic principle is if we developing love for God, no matter which path we follow. And developing love for God means not just on the neophyte level, where he just performs some puja and arti for the deity, but he doesn't know how to behave with other people. So love for God also means love for all his creation, love for his nature, love for his energy, love for his creation means the human beings or animals. That is real love. And of course, at the same time, loving Krishna and loving Krishna's pastimes, loving to hear about Krishna's pastimes, loving to chant about Krishna's names and Krishna's pastimes. Even if a particular type of religious principle does not recognize the supremacy, followers still have to obey the disciplinary principles laid down by a particular leader. So here, of course, here Prabhupada is talking about different religions, different religious systems, but followers still have to follow something. The occupational duties of the castes and the orders of society, following the principles of livelihood, also depend on the principles of devotion service. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that a person can achieve the highest perfection of life simply by awarding the results of his occupational duty unto the devotion service of the Lord. People following the principles of devotion service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there cannot be any question of apada dharma or religion in distress. As will be explained in this book by the greatest authority, Srila Shukdev Goswami, there is no religion save and except the devotion service of the Lord, though this may be presented in different forms. It's funny, Prabhupada said, people following the principles of devotion service to the Lord can never be put into difficulty, and thus there is never any question of apad dharma, religion in distress. Means apad dharma, in distress or in emergency situations, one can follow some other principles. Of course, Parikshit Maharaj himself is asking this question about the distress, religious principles for one who may be in distress. He himself is in a big distress. He's going to die within 7 days. But he's not considering about himself. He's asking this question for all of us. So from outwardly, we can say the person, the devotees, here they are in some kind of difficulty. But inwardly, if they are really following the religious principles, they are always in ecstasy. They never say they are in any kind of distress. Like Maharaj Parikshit, he's not saying he's in any kind of distress. He's sitting down calmly and quietly and asking questions, and see all the questions he's asking. So this is a nature of a devotee who has made so much of advancement that he doesn't feel he is in any kind of difficulty because he has full faith in Krishna, that Krishna will protect me no matter what. This is something we have to learn from these devotional devotees who are who are performing devotional service properly. Tattvanam sankhyanam lakshyam hetu lakshanam purusharthanam vidhir yogasya dhyata nikasya cha. Kindly explain all about the elementary principles of creation, the number of such elementary principles, their causes and their development, and also the process of devotional service and the method of mystic powers. Yogeshwareshwarya gatir linga bhangastu yoginam vedopaveda dharmanam itihasa puranayo. What are the opulences of the great mystics and what's their ultimate realization? How does the perfect mystic become detached from the subtle astral body? What's the basic knowledge of the Vedic literatures, including the branches of history and the supplementary Puranas? So here, Parikshit Maharaj is really asking lots of questions. He is really inquisitive. The Yogeshwara or the master of mystic powers can exhibit 8 kinds of wonders of perfection by becoming smaller than this atom or lighter than a feather, getting anything and everything he desires, going anywhere and everywhere he likes, creating even a planet in the sky, etc. So there are 8 siddhis. So we'll learn more about them in later uh, chapters. There are many Yogeshwaras having different proficiencies in these vertical powers, and the topmost of all of them is Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is the greatest yogi, and he can perform such wonderful things far beyond the ordinary living beings. The devotees of the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, do not directly practice the process of mystic powers. But by the grace of the Lord, his devotee can defeat even a great Yogeshwara like Durvasa Muni, who picked a quarrel with Maharaj Ambarish and wanted to show the wonderful achievements of his mystic powers. So devotees can defeat even a great Yogeshwara like Durvasa Muni. But of course, we don't recommend us picking up any fight with any yogi like that who has mystic powers, because we, of course, Krishna is same, Bhakti is same, but we are not at that level of Maharaj Ambarish. Maharaj Ambarish was a pure devotee of the Lord, and thus without any effort on his part, the Lord saved him from the wrath of Yogeshwara Durvasa Muni, and the latter was obliged to beg pardon from the king. Similarly, at the time of Draupadi's precarious position when she was attacked by Kurus who wanted to see her naked in the open assembly of the royal order, the Lord saved her from being stripped by supplying an unlimited length of sari to cover her. And Draupadi knew nothing of mystic powers. Therefore, the devotees are also Yogeshwaras by the unlimited power of the Lord, just as a child is powerful by the strength of the parents. They do not try to protect themselves by any artificial means, but are saved by the mercy of the parents. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur at one place he has said, the devotees are all, they have all these mystic powers. In fact, Srila Prabhupada showed these powers, but he didn't display them regularly so that devotees don't get bewildered. Just like in Juhu temple, when there was the whole fight was going on to get that land for Juhu temple. If you ever get a chance, you can read in proper Lilamrita. And after they got the land, even during getting the land, there were so many incidents going on, and it was very I mean, the followers of Prabhupada, they were really surprised how Prabhupada was handling everything. But even after he got the land, and there was construction had to take place. So, as we know, Juhu Temple is very close to the beach at Arabian Sea in Mumbai. So the foundation in that area is, because it's all sand, so they have to dig deep piles into the sand to the rock. So the foundation is supposed to be very deep piles. So the engineer was laying out the foundation, and not laying out, when they were started to drill. So they came to Prabhupada, and Prabhupada said, "No, we don't need big piles, just have regular foundation." An engineer said, "Swamiji, in this area, this is all sand. The rock is very deep, so we have to drill deep to bear the foundation on the rock." But Prabhupada said, no, just regular foundation. An engineer tried to explain, but then the devotees told the engineer, Swamiji knows, so you just dig and have the regular foundation. The engineer said, okay. And they started digging. And exactly, I mean, it was like 3-4 feet below, they found rock, solid rock. And they wanted to dig more about the rock, but Prabhupada said, no, don't dig more, just support it on that rock and finish the temple. So engineer went ahead and they did the foundation. They were surprised, how come the rock is right there and how come Swamiji knew about it? But Prabhupada had mystic powers and he knew. And later he told his disciples, I think he told Giriraj Maharaj, that actually that is a Ganesha temple underneath. It is buried underneath. And Radha Rasbihari temple is supported by that Ganesha temple. And Prabhupada, that's why he told that engineer to finish up the work, I mean, do it fast, to cover it up. Because if the Archaeological Society of India had found that there's a Ganesha temple, ancient Ganesha temple underneath, they would have stopped the construction and they would have unearthed the whole temple, because that would be like a heritage. So Prabhupada said, just start the construction, because he wanted to start the construction. Then once construction, then nobody was going to unearth that temple. But somehow Prabhupada knew. We don't know all the mystic powers that Prabhupada had. Maharaj Parikshit inquired from the learned Brahman Shukdev Goswami about the ultimate destination of such great mystics, or how they attain such extraordinary powers, by their own efforts or by the grace of the Lord. He inquired also about their detachment from the subtle and gross material bodies. He inquired also about the purports of the Vedic knowledge. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the whole purport of all the Vedas is to know the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and thus become a transcendental loving servant of the Lord. So the whole idea of his asking all these questions is how can one become a loving servant of the Lord? Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. See anybody has any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Actually, with your today's lecture, I can really tell you that whatever you were telling, that we should not only be emotionally attached, but we should be aware of it. It's quite sometime I had this realization, because I was just one person. I told you in this class only that how can we know God? He's too much, means Hari Ananta, Hari Katha Ananta. But after that, I had that realization that in order to explain people who are always intellectuals and all. When we deal with them, we should be aware of our own God, what is their reality, so that sometimes we can explain them also. So these knowledge is really, really important. And it is not that we are just fooling ourselves and we are just emotionally attaching ourselves to something, but we have to be aware of our real power of our God. Thank you so much again and again.
So we should know the philosophy. If not complete, I mean, to a certain extent, we should know. Prabhupada has given us wonderful books. We should be ready to listen and read these books. And thank you for night's observation, Mata.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Mata. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.